Hello and welcome to Sport This Morning. I'm Cecilia Omogbe.
And I am Tayo Salam. All right, so we're starting off the show with the AFCON, the biggest football competition on the continent. And it was a debut victory for the Gambia yesterday. Jerry Jallo scoring a fantastic winner for the Gambia in their first AFCON tournament.
Interesting. I believe there will be celebrations everywhere in Gambia right now. First appearance and also winning their very first game in the group stage. Also on the program, Chelsea are in the finals of the EFL Cup, beating Tottenham by a lone goal. Antonio Rudiger's goal was enough for Chelsea to reach the final of the EFL Cup and aggregate win 3-0 for Chelsea. And they will be facing the winner between Arsenal and Liverpool in the final on February 27th.
Fantastic victory. It was always going to be Chelsea advancing into the final after taking a 2-0 lead into the second leg at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Congratulations to the Blues. Better luck next time to Tottenham. Also on the program in the NBA, in the battle of the top two teams in the Eastern Conference, it was the Brooklyn Nets that ended up taming the Chicago Bulls very, very convincingly.
Yeah, convincing win it was for the Brooklyn Nets. No time to waste time. They're back to winning ways again. And of course, we'll begin with the Nations Cup. All right, Twitter is back, so you can be part of the program this morning. Send us your tweet, also send us your email. What do you think about the AFCON so far? Yes, there was a controversy that happened in the game between Mali and Tunisia, and also the fact that Gambia making their debut. The only two nations there. You have Comoros and Gambia. Yeah. They are the two countries that are making their debut in the 24 AFCON nation, 33rd edition. So send us your email. What do you think about Gambia victory? And of course, we're still celebrating the Super Eagles of Nigeria. There's so many mails that were signed. We couldn't read all of them. So this morning we'll try as much as possible to read a lot, especially with Twitter open. So our feedback mechanism has not changed. It's for this morning at channelstv.com. That's the email, of course. You can also send us your tweets, what you think about the Super Eagles victory and what they should do in the game against Sudan. So on the segment of the Africa Cup of Nations, Tayo is here. We'll not be doing all the talking alone because we've got two guests in the house. It's Thursday, but Akintunde Johnson is going to join us via Zoom from Lekki. He's going to join us this morning. And also we have a guest in the studio that is joining us, Kingsley Udofia. He's also here. He will be joining us on the program. So before we look up to them, so Tayo, we'll just read out through the results of what went down yesterday.
Let's get out of the way before we get the thoughts of our analysts on the program. Let's start off with the very first game of the day. Ended up being very controversial. That was the matchup between Mali and Tunisia. Ibrahima Cote scored the winning goal from the penalty spot, but that wasn't the story of the day. The story is that referee Gianni Sikazwe blew for full time twice before 90 minutes. That was a bit of a farce. I don't know what's going on with that referee right there, but we'll come back to that result shortly and to that incident. Elsewhere, it was the Gambia, like we said, recording their first victory at the first AFCON, 1-0 over Mauritania. Abi Jallo scoring a sensational goal in that victory, the very first in their history. Last but not the least, Cote d'Ivoire and Equatorial Guinea ended 1-0 in favor of the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. Max Gradel with another stunning goal to give the Elephants all 3 points. Okay, guys, let's just sink our teeth into this straight away.
Time to welcome our guests.
Our guests.
So starting with the one in the studio.
Kingsley, what's up? Happy New Year.
Back here again. Happy New Year to you too. And Cecilia, you're looking ravishingly beautiful.
All right. I'm blushing.
Bada Kitsune is also with us. Bada, what's up? How are you this morning?
Feeling fantastic. It's been a great start to the tournament for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, so I have every reason to be happy. I'm sure most Nigerians are. It's just good to be in football season. Everywhere you turn, there's a match going on.
I
Tuesday
know,
night, for
right?
instance, El Clasico was on, Tottenham Sports was on,
Yeah.
AFCON games were on. It's just a football fest, and we love it.
We are loving it, no complaints whatsoever. Let's just start with you. First of all, let's talk about the game. It ended 1-0 between Tunisia and Mali. Very, very tough game indeed. But everything was overshadowed by the referee, Gianni Sakazwe from Zambia, who blew for full time twice before 90 minutes. And it was quite farcical, not the kind of news we wanted to be talking about on the show this morning. I mean, we should normally be focusing on the game itself, but it was an incident that, threatened to overshadow the match itself.
Not just the match, but the entire competition. Called into question, the integrity of African match referees. It was blown out of proportion by the Western press, as you would expect.
Yeah.
But what happened was just absolutely bizarre. I know that there's a lot of attention and focus on COVID, but I think that CAF needs to prioritize mental health checks for match officials, because it's hard to convince me that all is well with that man. You end the game 5 minutes to time, you restart it, and then with some seconds, I think 15 seconds left to run in regulation time. And obviously, for the fact that the game was stopped for 2 penalty calls, was stopped for a red card, was stopped for a water break, you would have been expecting nothing less than 4 minutes of added time.
Yeah.
And this man ended the game before the 90-minute mark.
Very strange.
You could see from CAF's attempts to remedy the situation later that they must have been very livid with him. When the game attempted to restart, we didn't see the same man. The game would have been, if the Tunisians had come back to the pitch, the game would have been officiated by the fourth official, not the same controversial man, because I'm sure they must have told him to, go keep his whistle somewhere for now, whilst they evaluate the situation. But it was so embarrassing for a tournament that has had its, should I say, this fair share of disrespect, a share of disrespect, not fair, from the Western press, people who would like to believe that it's less than other international competitions. When you see stuff like that, it's just absolutely disgraceful. And the Tunisians had every reason to feel hard done by, because they, would have thought that maybe a late rally could have gotten them a result in that game. To have what could have been maybe 4 to 5 minutes taken off you to chase a game is significant in football terms. What they are asking for here is a replay of the game. I'm not sure they're going to get it. I think that once the final whistle went one last time from the fourth official, when they refused to come back to the pitch, their fate was sealed in respect to that game. They have 6 more points to play for in the group. But it was just a very disgraceful way to end the game of football. And, I just think that, CAF now knows that they need to and prevent future occurrences from tainting the reputation of the organization, as well as the integrity of this tournament as a whole.
You're spot on, Bada. Kingsley, over to you. This referee is highly rated by CAF. Refereed 2017 AFCON final. It's been to the World Cup 2018 in Russia. Also was at FIFA Club World Cup as well too. So he's obviously a very capable referee. So what could have gone wrong yesterday? Have you heard something we haven't heard this morning?
Nothing precise. I mean, the questions are still being out there as to what was really going through his mind.
A lot of questions.
Was his time not working? I mean, so many questions that came up, after that incident. questions that I've yet to have answers to. But however, for a referee of that caliber, such errors was least expected from him. But it happened anyway, and I wait to see what CAF is going to do going forward, because this is an African team, and we don't need to give the rest of the world, something to talk about. If this was to be in Europe, for instance, maybe not so much would have been made about it, but because it's Africa, they always want to have something to always talk about, and to always find a way to want to talk less about the competition.
Yeah, they've jumped on it.
We shouldn't give them room. So we are talking about things like this. So I think going forward, CAF should be able to address issues like this, and just to ensure that it doesn't happen in subsequent games. The competition is still on. Just the first set of games that just went by. I think today we'll see the second phase of games going into it. So I think CAF should do everything and ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Hopefully it's the first and the last.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned the fact that the West, if it was in the West, I mean, the whole story would not be so big. And if you check earlier this year, in April precisely, this kind of thing really happened. I'm talking about 2021.
In the Spanish League, it happened.
So the players are already taking off their jersey, their kits and everything. I mean, exchange jersey. So they were called back to finish the game immediately before it. But it wasn't this big. It wasn't this popular. German Bundesliga also, it happened. So it's not the first time we've seen referees actually ending games
definitely,
before
but like
the
I
final
said,
whistle.
It's an African thing, so they will tend to blow it out of proportion and makes it look like, it's never happened anywhere else in the world. So I think we shouldn't be giving room to things like this, for them to talk about all the time.
Yeah, so two wrongs don't make it right. It doesn't make it right. Situations like this, I should never occur. I mean, it's just timekeeping. What is the big deal? Guys, let's move away
you talked about mental health, but I think I will pick that. There was obviously something wrong. We joked that, okay, he has a very hot date or something. He needs to be somewhere. But I think maybe that mental health issue.
Twice.
Yes. Once, if it was once, you understand it. But twice, that 85th minute, it's something we couldn't just fathom. As Brother mentioned, CAF should also prioritize mental health. I mean, look at these referees. Their welfare should be put into consideration.
Absolutely. Let's move on to actual football now.
Gambia.
Can we focus on that one?
The game, let's leave the game because, I mean, yes, it was a good game, but the referee controversy overshadowed the whole thing. So move over to the next game, Gambia, Mauritania.
Gambia, Mauritania. Fantastic victory for the Gambia on their debut. Abli Jallo, what a goal. Sensational strike.
He's a legend now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gambia, that's how they ended up winning that game. But your thoughts on that match, Mauritania-Gambia? A lot of people were thinking Mauritania, since they've been to the AFCON before, might just use the experience to get the win over Gambia. It wasn't the case, and we've seen this man doing incredible stuff again. Tom Saintfiet, the coach of the Gambia. He knows the terrain very well.
Oh, yeah. He's a very familiar customer with the African football terrain. Remember, just a few years ago, this man almost got appointed as technical director for Nigerian football. Yeah. And I thought they were favorites going into that game simply because of just how strongly they qualified for the competition. They finished top of their group, and it was a very difficult group, it must be said. So they came in, knowing that they could play their brand of football and impose it on the Mauritanians, because to be honest, that was some sort of final for them, because we are in the same group with Tunisia and Mali. You've got to be getting something from that game to stand a chance of qualifying as one of the best third place teams. And what a way to start. In the first 10 minutes, I think it was the 6th minute, Jallo, just slipped into the space between defense and midfield, picked up the ball, knew exactly what he was going to do, and just smashed the ball into the top corner for the only goal of the game. From that point on, Mauritania huffed and puffed. They didn't really create chances. Former Fulham striker Kamara was obviously their most potent attacking outlet, but even he was reduced to long-range shots. They created a few opportunities from crosses, but no clear-cut chance. And Gambia looked very comfortable in their shape. They had two banks of 4 and 2 guys up front who were sure attacking outlets. They didn't quite punish Mauritania on the breakaway a few times that they got into promising positions. They didn't have players with the legs or the pace to punish them in those situations, but they really never looked like conceding once they went in front. And as long as they didn't concede and they had that go-ahead goal, 3 points was always going to be guaranteed. So Mauritania had the tournament experience, but Gambia had the form, considering how they qualified for this competition. and how sure they were about their game plan from start to finish yesterday. I thought they were full value for the 3 points.
Interesting. Kingsley, what do you think? Mauritania made their debut in the last Nations Cup. Yes, Mauritania made their debut in the last Nations Cup 2019. This is their second appearance. And of course, Gambia making their first appearance. I mean, in the first 10 minutes of the game, they got a goal, and Mauritania never looked back. They didn't seem as if they have anything to really offer in the second half of the game.
I'm sure the bookies didn't quite give the Gambia any chance. I mean, considering the fact that Mauritania have had a tournament experience, and the Gambia just making their debut. But like Bada said, they came in with a game plan, and they stuck to their game plan. They had outlets, to run ragged around on the Mauritanian side. And at the end of the day, it paid off. So I think the Gambia, in particular, like Bada mentioned, they've been in fantastic form, building up from the qualifiers up to the tournament proper. And they've stuck to their game plan, they've stuck to their style of play, and it has paid off for them. Debut win for them, fantastic, and it is yet to be seen what they do from here on. And again, I think they have a good coach, behind them on the sideline, that knows the African terrain very well. So that is just another plus on their side. So I think, they are poised to qualify for the next group, considering the way they played. If they don't change their game plan, I think they are going to get another victory in the next game.
Indeed.
Poised to qualify.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We'll see about our celebrations all over Banjul.
Yeah.
Cecilia, I've seen pictures. It's absolutely wild scenes. I don't know if you can see those pictures that are coming from Banjul. Gambia celebrating the first victory at the AFCON. Cecilia, it is understandable. I mean, a very small country like that coming to the biggest tournaments in Africa and getting the job done. Anyways, we'll move on from Gambia. Let's go to Cote d'Ivoire and Equatorial Guinea. So I thought this game was going to, buck the trend of the 1-0s, the very lonely scorelines. And it looked that way. Very early goal from Max Gradel. Bad, are you with me? And for the next 80 minutes or thereabouts, it didn't look like Cote d'Ivoire were going to get another goal. And
to be flogged.
I thought I was very, very, I was quite disappointed, obviously, that I didn't get to see more goals in that game. But what do you think happened to Cote d'Ivoire, and why could they not build on that very early or fantastic early start?
So, names don't play football. In terms of big names, Ivorians were many miles, country miles ahead of the opposition on the night. But in terms of actual quality of play, there was very little to choose between them because the Equatorial Guineans did very well, covered themselves in glory. I was blown away by the quality of their football, from defense into midfield into attack. On the breakaway, their transitions were very quick, the passing precise, the movement absolutely great. They worried this star-studded Ivorian team for 90 minutes. And had that Max Gradel goal not gone in, they probably would have won. And had they been awarded what I thought was a very, very obvious penalty when an Ivorian defender handled the ball blatantly. Unfortunately, the referee didn't even have a check. He didn't even give them anything, and that was quite disappointing. And again, back to substandard or below par officiating at the tournament. I hope that improves going forward because you don't want the teams thinking they lost the game to the referee. And Equatorial Guinea can feel like they did because had they gotten that penalty, who knows? They could have equalized and maybe could have gone on to win the game because they created chances and really proved that they've come into this competition faring no good for the Ivorian team. In defense, they had the luxury of putting Wolverhampton Wanderers defender Boli on the bench. Sergio Aurier was on the bench. They had Arsenal's Pepe on the bench, Wilfred Zaha on the bench. They had Siri Die on the bench. Their bench was more valuable than a lot of starting 11s in this particular competition. They started with Max Gradel on the right side, who scored the goal. And then on the left side, they had Cote, who's been burning up the Premiership for Burnley. And then Sebastian Haller, who scored 7 goals in the Champions League, was centre forward. It doesn't get more star-studded. In midfield, they had Fulham's, what's his name now? I can't remember his name, the Fulham player who was in the Premier League before, now, doing it in the championships alongside Frank Casey, the AC Milan man. So I mean, quality all round, but the Equatorial Guinean team didn't show any respect whatsoever. They were full of running. They were very enterprising. The quality of their passing and movement was the most impressive part of their game for me. They created chances. Had they had better finishing, they would have scored. Insue, yeah, that's his name. Their captain,
okay.
for me, is the best striker I have seen so far in the tournament in terms of the quality of his off the ball runs. The way he was peeling off the shoulder of the last man and running into space to pick up the ball to give the guys in midfield options to hit with their passes was so impressive. It was top quality stuff. He didn't score, but I kept looking at him all night and thinking, if this guy had quality in midfield, or if he was playing for one of the top teams, we will be raving and ranting about his quality in this competition. He was immense. But the Ivorians just flat out to deceive. Even the goal, it wasn't well worked. It was, a botched clearance that fell into the path of Max Gradel. They didn't really, create much. And even when they did, later on, Zaha scuffed the shot after he had bustled his way past defenders. Pepe came on, was played through on goal, just blasted it into Rosie. They know that, they have to do better. This is not what we're expecting from this Ivorian team. And you could see why they probably crashed out the World Cup qualification, because you can have all the quality and not bring it as a team. And yesterday night, they didn't bring it as a team.
You're spot on about Cote d'Ivoire, but we need to go on a break now. Hang on for a second. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion on the 2021 AFCON, including today's games. Join us again. Welcome back to Channel Sports this morning. We're still taking a look at the AFCON. Games are played yesterday and games are played today. We've still got our guest right here, Kingsley. Kingsley, I've counted 9 1-0 score lines. I don't know if I've missed anyone out there. 9 1-0 score lines. I've never seen anything like this before. It wasn't like this at 2019 in Egypt. I mean, what do you make of the for obvious reasons, we know first games are always very cagey, teams very, very, very cautious. But do you think that's the issues? That's the only issue we have at the moment, or do you think there's something else, perhaps quality-wise, that is missing?
I think for now, teams are being cautious in terms of their approach. Not wanting to throw everything at their opponents. Some teams are being conservative, and watch when they go all out. I hope it improves because. Other than the game, the opener, Cameroon against Burkina Faso, that had it all action-packed. So the rest of the games, once a team scores one, they fall back into defensive mode, try to be conservative and, pick their moment to attack. But overall, I think there's been shortage of quality in terms of the final third and, what teams do at the final third. We saw the Ivorians yesterday against supposedly lowly rated Equatorial Guinea and all their stars, superstars. We saw when Pepe, one would have thought for a player of his quality, would have been able to put that ball away, but it was very disappointing on his part. Creativity have lacked at the final third, and of course, when the balls eventually get to the final third, the finishing has been very poor. But I hope that the teams will get to improve in their finishing, going into the second phase of the competition.
So it's a combination of the early jitters as well as a bit of lack of quality. But do you agree with Kingsley?
Yeah, those are some of the reasons why the games have produced very low score lines. But I also think that maybe lack of cohesion because most of the teams just got together a few days ago, as well as the weather, especially for the North African teams. It is very hot in that place, Tyre. You saw players dripping in sweat, really soaked, from head to toe, as early as the 10th, 15th minute. The Algerian team, for instance, against Sierra Leone, just couldn't get going. And post-match, the officials, the players were complaining about the weather. It's going to take some time for them to, sort of get into the tournament, acclimatize, and be comfortable to play their football. Thankfully, nobody is complaining about the quality of the surfaces they're playing on. They look pristine. They look good enough. So I know that the floodgates of goals will open up as the competition progresses. 1-0 wins are better than no goals. God forbid we were complaining about 9 goalless draws. It would have been worse, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll take the 1-0 score lines and hope that as the tournament progresses, we get to see more goals.
Starting today, hopefully, Cameroon, the host nation, will be taking on Ethiopia. They're looking to win back-to-back games, obviously. Let's take a look at the fixtures for today as the second round of games commence in Cameroon, starting with the host nation versus Ethiopia. They won the first game, so they'll be looking to win the second one and advance into the round of 16. There's also Cape Verde taking on Burkina Faso. So those are the two games for today. Kingsley, how these games are going to pan out, starting with the Indomitable Lions?
I think on the basis of their first game, you know, we all saw how they played. I think they were fantastic, despite coming up against a difficult opposition in Burkina Faso. You know, and if you look at the two teams head to head, I think Cameroon just managed to edge it, you know, with a one victory. But they are the host, and they have a fantastic team up front. Vincent Abubakar, you know, is leading the team and leading very well. And then on the bench, they have the likes of Eric Choupo-Moting, you know, there on the bench. Says Bosse Song, you know, is also on the bench. So I think the Cameroonians they are looking very good in that group. And I think with the home fans behind them today, they'll definitely get that victory today because they are a very solid side, very compact, very physical when they need to be, and of course, an expressive too as well. So I think Cameroonians, they are poised to win this one.
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting note. But I mean, Cameroon, their first game, it was 2 penalties. Vincent Abubakar, who gave them the 2 goals, they managed to beat Burkina Faso 2-1. Now, today's game, there's the host nation. They won it in 2017. And, of course, their fans, what they want is to win, is to host and also to win. Can they get into the round of 16 today?
I think it's almost sealed. They're going to beat Ethiopia. They'll just have too much quality for that Ethiopian team. They had some sort of a false start, but that was owing to the quality of the Burkina Faso team, which doesn't get spoken about enough.
Yeah.
Ethiopia doesn't have the same kind of quality. I'm not sure they have temperament for a game with the sort of atmosphere that Cameroonians will generate today. The Indomitable Lions will just be too pumped, too motivated. The incentive is massive. Win this game, secure, your place in the next round. The only worry they have is that man in the picture, Onana, dropped a clanger in the first game, and you can see he was rusty. He hasn't played club football because he was serving a ban. So the goalkeeper manager must be asking himself, do I keep playing him so I don't destroy his confidence and risk another clanger, another howler, or do I take him off out of the line of fire, have him maybe come back when his head is in the right place? That's an interesting call I'll be looking forward to see. But in terms of who wins Cameroon and Ethiopia, there's only one winner in that one. Is the Indomitable Lions. The other game that interests me. Cape Verde is a very, very good team. I love how they play. I love their movement on and off the ball. I love the confidence with which they play. I fancied them coming into this competition because of the trouble that they gave Nigeria in qualifying those 2 games, home and away against the Super Eagles. We looked at Cape Verde on paper, not Cape Verde, the team that turned up on for those 2 matches. And I always said, if you remember, Tayo, that if they cut out their defensive errors, they're a decent team. And they showed it in their first game against Ethiopia. And I hope that they kick on from there today against this very, very good Burkina Faso team. If the 2 teams play up to their potential, this has the possibility of becoming one of the most enjoyable games of this competition because the 2 of them will go for it. They have to now. Burkina Faso played well, unfortunately lost in the first game, so they know they have their work out. They have to get a result. Cape Verde have 3 points. If they get a draw, they are almost nailed on to progress as one of the 3rd best placed teams at worst. So 2 teams that have massive incentive to go on and chase this game and win it. So for me, that is the game I've got my eyes on today at the AFCON.
All right, that's the game we'll all be looking forward to. It's going to be 7 p.m. Nigerian time. That's the kickoff for the game between Cape Verde and Burkina Faso. And that's how we'll end this segment on Africa Cup of Nations. right, now let's talk about other what's going on in other parts of the world, especially football. Now, Chelsea are through to the finals of the EFL Cup. Antonio Rudiger goal was just enough for them to seal the victory. Yes, first leg ended 2-0. We thought Tottenham were going to fight, but somehow it just didn't happen for them. It ended 3-0, and of course, that's the aggregate win right there. So I'm going to start with you, Kingsley. I mean, we thought Tottenham were going to fight, but it's a team. We talked about them yesterday, as if maybe from the hierarchy, I mean, from the top, they're really not interested in winning trophies. That's what this seems like. When you're 2-0 down in the first leg, you expect to fight back in the second leg, but it just wasn't to be for the London club.
I think I'll start with Chelsea because they definitely need to switch into the next gear. Because
Gear 2, that's all they gave yesterday.
because Tottenham didn't come with any fight at all whatsoever. I mean, one would have thought that for a team who was 2 goals down, from the first leg, and they would have come up playing at home
right from the start.
Yeah, right from the start. But it wasn't the case. The sports team was looking kind of out of sorts, playing without spine. Perhaps they were missing a song, who gives them that driving force up front. Yes, there was an hurricane there, but the hurricane of this season is not the same hurricane we used to know. So Chelsea just didn't need to do too much. All they needed to do was just maintain the scoreline, make sure you don't lose, and that was just what they did. And because Tottenham didn't just give them any fight at all, so it was a good one for Chelsea. Yeah. So now they are with the winner between Arsenal and Liverpool. I think that is where they'll bring their A game to the table.
Indeed. Interesting. But let's come to you quickly. Chelsea, easy win, easing their way into the final of the Carabao Cup. But let's focus on Tottenham now, just a season after they got into the final. And the owner, Daniel Levy, decided to sack the coach just a few days before the final against City. A season after that, now they're out in the semi-finals to Chelsea. Antonio Conte hasn't made any bones about it that he's got his work cut out. He's come out to say several times that he doesn't have the personnel as a team is right now to compete for the big honors in Tottenham. And 2008, it looks like the wait is going to continue for their first trophy.
Well, I don't think anyone really gave them a chance when the draws were made and they drew Chelsea. He said it consistently that they're light years behind Chelsea, Liverpool, and City in England. Over the 2 legs, there was only going to be one winner. Chelsea were just too strong, too much quality, especially in the attacking and defensive areas, even in midfield. Yesterday, the only bright spots for Spurs would be the VAR calls. I think a penalty, a goal from Kane that was ruled out. I think 2 penalty calls, but I thought VAR got most of them, if not every one of them right. But they needed to score. Yeah, they needed to score 3 goals to get past Chelsea. They didn't score even 1. So there can be no controversy about who should be lining up in Wembley against either Arsenal or Liverpool. Chelsea were just too strong, too good, too motivated for this Antonio Conte team. I thought maybe the game came maybe too early for Antonio Conte. He's worked on the personality of the team, but as you quite rightly said, the quality gap between them and the rest of the big boys can only be addressed in the transfer market. The team he has right now is just not good enough at that level yet. But have there been changes? Obviously, their Premier League results bear testament to the fact that he's improved them since he's coming. But this team is not just ready to begin to challenge the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, and City for honours in England, whether in the league or in the cups. And that golfing showed yet again yesterday.
Indeed. So it's going to be Chelsea versus Arsenal or Liverpool. And we're going to get to see the first leg of that particular matchup tonight for obvious reasons. COVID-19 delaying the kickoff between those 2 teams. Who's going to have the advantage after tonight?
Well, it wouldn't have the look of the game we would have expected to see. Obviously, Liverpool missing Mane and Salah. Arsenal with players out, injured or at AFCON or out to COVID. At the Arsenal midfield is down to the bare bones. The last game, they only had Lokonga fit. And, this one, they may have Xhaka back because he was out with COVID. They've sold they've let Maitland-Niles go out on loan to Roma. The last game they lost in the cup, they actually played 18-year-old Charlie Patino from the start because they were down to the bare bones. So it might not have the spark of the usual Arsenal Liverpool games because these are essentially B teams coming up against each other or teams that are just going to be the managers are going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel to get a team together. So, but I feel like Liverpool sort of haven't missed the first leg. Now have the first leg at home would have the slight advantage, and maybe because of their better depth of the squad, would mean that on the night maybe Liverpool will shade it. But if you have any expectations of typical Liverpool Arsenal game, you need to sort of temper those expectations because it might not be fireworks tonight. Really.
Yeah, I think you're spot on about that, but we'll see how it pans out later tonight. Thank you very much for joining us again. We'll catch you again next Thursday.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, let's get on with the show now and come to talk about the Nigeria Women's Professional Football League Premiership. Games went down yesterday across the country. We have all of the results for you. The biggest winners, obviously, Rivers United, Rivers Angels with a 4-0 bashing of Abia Angels. So obviously they are the superior Angels. Anyway, elsewhere, the Bayelsa Queens defeated Royal Queens by 3-0, while Sunshine Queens also prevailed over FC Robo by 2-1. Matchday 4 result from Group A. Let's go to Group B.
Yeah, Group B. Okay, we'll go to Group B now, where you have, of course, let's go to Group A because you just saw Group B. Group A, where you have Edo Queens and Nasarawa Amazons. It was 2-1. Yemisi Samuel scoring in the 35th minute before Akudo Ogbonna also added as it was 53 minutes into the game. And, of course, Mercy Doko had to reduce the deficit 2-1, but it was a little too late for Nasarawa Amazons. They couldn't win. They ended 2-1 in favor of Edo Queens. You're looking at Group A results right now. Adamawa Queens finally got their first win of the season, and it was Eunice Eziani's 69th minute lone goal was enough for them to beat Confluence Queens. Just 1-0 it ended. And the game between Oshun Babes and Pelican Stars. Oshun Babes also getting their first win of the season. Kesiana Oyijove, 15th minute goal, and of course the penalty from Iberi Okala was enough for Oshun Babes to beat Pelican Stars 2-0. And for Rivers Angels, as I mentioned earlier, biggest winners of the day. Their captain, Miriam Ezenago, scored 2 goals. 50 minutes, she started the onslaught, and in the 77th minute, she added a second goal. And of course, Chiamaka Okochukwu and Cecilia Unku were also on the score sheet. Let's get reaction from the captain of the Rivers Angels talking about this game.
First of all, I want to thank God for giving us victory today and for making me score 2 goals today. I think we did very well today. We were able to convert our chances. Scoring 4 goals today, it's not easy because our last home game we got just 1 goal. So scoring 4 goals today, I think it's a good one. So me and my teammates, we did very well today to get those goals.
All right, that's the captain, of course, happy with that 4-0 victory. Rivers Angels still unbeaten this season, winning 3 and also drawing 1, which was their opening game in Asaba against Delta Queens. Now let's listen to who is inside Abia Angels coach Anchie Gina. Yes, she's happy with the improvement the team has made, but this result is not good enough for her.
I think the team is not bad. Again, playing in the high altitude of this type of game, playing a team like Rivers Angels that is one of the champions, and my team, my young team that is coming up. I think with the zeal they have today, I think they played very well for me. Just that, of course, 90 minutes there must be loophole, there must be mistakes, and the mistakes from the goalkeeper. 3 goals from the goalkeeper minus the penalty. So I think it's not a bad one. If you look at it, all the goals just cheap goal. But nevertheless, we have seen them, and now we can go back home and do 1 or 2 works on them.
All right, more work to be done for Abia Angels. All right, let's leave football and talk table tennis. The championships already started. Nigeria Table Tennis Federation already started championship, and the first one this year took place in Benin City, Edo State. The likes of Aziz Cholanke, they were all there. in that particular competitions. Yes, about 234 table tennis players across the 36 states of the Federation were all in Benin City for this very first table tennis championship at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, Edo State. Yeah. So the Table Tennis Federation said that the competition will also keep the players in top form ahead of the Commonwealth Games and the World Championship. We talked about earlier this year that this year a whole lot of championships is taking place, so the federations are not slipping. They're trying to have pre-tournaments for most of these players, and this is one of them, loaded with top players across the country.
Yes, they cannot afford to snooze. The Commonwealth Games is just around the corner, so it's good to see all these table tennis players taking advantage of all of these platforms to continue to develop their skill sets. Let's go and take reactions that are coming from that tournament. We're going to get to listen to Aziz Sholanke, is very familiar. If you follow table tennis, you know Aziz Sholanke, one of the best young stars in Nigeria. We also get to listen to Fatima Bello as well, to speaking about this competition.
Actually, I'm playing very fine now. I'm playing very good. I'm playing okay, but this tournament is just a 50-50 game because we have a lot of strong players now in Nigeria. Like someone like Mati Taiwo, Amadi Ome, Williwan Akobi, a lot of players. So it's just a 50-50 chance for every one of us. The last tournament I played was last year. That is West Africa, which I lose in final. So this, I will try to put more effort to win the men's single tournament.
We are trying. Nigeria is really trying, like more than most of the countries. So we are trying, and we have good players too, and the players are doing good.
Yeah, the players are doing good. That's what we want for them as they continue to prepare for the Commonwealth Games. We need to go on a break now. We'll come back. We'll be giving you updates are coming from the world of basketball, the NBA to be precise. Join us again. You're welcome back to Channel Sport this morning. Time to take a look at games that went down in the NBA this morning. We have the results for you. We're going to start off with the game between the Celtics and the Indiana Pacers. It ended 119-100 in favor of Boston. Jaylen Brown, 34 points. Jason Tatum with 33 points in that victory for Boston. Elsewhere, the 76ers lost against the Charlotte Hornets, 109-98. Gordon Hayward was the star of the show, 30 points in that victory as the Hornets snapped a 16-game losing streak against Philadelphia. Elsewhere, it was the Wizards prevailing over the Orlando Magic, 112-106. And the Heat were also victorious as well, 115-91 over the Atlanta Hawks. Tyler Hero with 21 points in that game. The Knicks defeated the Dallas Mavericks, ending their 6-game winning streak by 108-85. The Rockets are back to winning ways. They defeated the San Antonio Spurs 128-124. Eric Gordon with 31 points to fuel the Rockets' rally in that particular victory. The Cavs were also victorious, 111-91 over the Utah Jazz, while the LA Lakers are lost against the Sacramento Kings, 116-125, despite 34 points from LeBron James. And last but not the least, the Nets, the best, defeated the Chicago Bulls 138-112 in the matchup of the best two teams in the Eastern Conference. Kevin Durant with 27 points in that victory. That's going to be our feature matchup. Cecilia, let's quickly talk about that one. The Nets defeating Chicago. Just reminding everyone that once we have our 3 guys playing at the same time,
there's only one king in the East.
Exactly. I mean, your chances of defeating us is as good as none.
Yeah.
And yesterday we got to see Kyrie, KD, and James Harden on the court together, and the Bulls stood no chance. Like I said, KD 27 points on the night, while James Harden added 25 points on the season high, 16 assists. Incredible playmaking coming from the Beard. Kyrie still trying to find his rhythm, finished with just 9 points in his 3rd game back into the lineup of the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets were absolutely dominant. They outscored the Bulls 39-19. in the third quarter to turn a 2-point halftime lead into a 101-79 advantage and never looked back from then on.
At all. What happened was that Durant actually dominated, stealing the show, 17 points in the third quarter, and that was what propelled them for that victory. All the big stars combining for 61 points. As you mentioned, when you have 3 of them back on court, it's hard to beat them. Let's just get the post-match reaction coming from Brooklyn Nets.
I thought defensively we were on the same page all night. We talked, we communicated. Usually when we do that as a team, no matter what's going on the offensive side of the ball, we put ourselves in a good position to win. So tonight we fought over stuff. We played against 3 incredible scorers from all over the floor, and we was able to be there on most of their attempts. And usually that's all you can ask for against players like that. And you give a lot of credit to Kess and Dayron for coming in and, making it tough on Vooch, making it tough on Zach and DeMar. And we just played as a team tonight on both ends.
Like, we got a chance to be that good. We just haven't had, enough of it. You know what I mean? Like, I think last year we probably had 15 games maybe together, a little more, a little less. And this year only 2. You know what I mean? We haven't had a real, bulk of, a season just to where it's all right. You know what I mean? And y'all can consistently see how great we can be. And we're working on that. We need to get to that point. So it felt good tonight, man, just to be able to, on both ends of the ball, be locked in on the same page and then offensively sharing the basketball and making each other better.
Well, I mean, we had an unbelievable resolve. I felt like all night we were in that flow where it gets dangerous for other teams or our opponent. We're hitting threes, we're getting to the rim, touching the paint. And I think in that Portland game, we had some carryover from that of just not overpassing, but just being aggressive for one another. It's going to be difficult for teams to load up and make adjustments on the fly when you have me, James, and Kay out there playing. I feel like I'm a great spacer. I have the ability to make some plays on the fly, whether it be ISO or just screening or just doing the little things. But when we couple a great team effort on both ends of the floor, it just feels good.
It feels good. His 3rd game back. He can play at home. You know the reason? COVID-19. All right, let's take a look at the top performers this morning. Those guys who put up the numbers, starting with King James. Lakers, 21-21 this season. I mean, James putting up all the numbers. I mean, the 11th time in 12 games that he's scoring more than 30 points, and it's still not good enough. They lost because Chimezie made 2, right? That clutch 3-pointer he made, 46.7. Just started with the Kings on a losing run.
Good win for the Kings.
Snapping for the Kings. Snapping their 5-game losing runs against it. All right.
DeJounte Murray for the San Antonio Spurs, that was also very good, 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists, a triple-double for Murray right there. Let's move on to Eric Gordon for the Houston Rockets. Finally took off a game, 31.3 rebounds and 3 assists in their victory. Elsewhere, it was Gordon Hayward of the Charlotte Hornets, 30 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists as he snapped a 16-game losing streak against the Philadelphia 76ers. While for the Boston Celtics, it was Jason Tatum stepping up big time with 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists in their victory over the Pacers. Joel Embiid, another game with 30 points or more. 8 in a row now, finished with 31, 6, and 3. But Philadelphia unfortunately lost out to the Hornets in that game. And last but not the least is the young star from New York, R.J. Barrett, 32, 7, and 2, as the Knicks defeated the Mavs, ending their 6-game winning streak. Time to look at the papers.
Obviously, and I'm going to start with Sporting Sun. We've still got Kingsley in the studio. Yes, Sporting Sun, that's where I'm starting from. To look at the papers. AFCON 2021, expect more goals from me, Ian Achel boast. Yes, we want to see that against Sudan on Saturday. Naira rain for Super Eagles. All right, there's so much money coming in. Not just promises, fulfill it. Promises 50 million. One of the sponsors of Super Eagles is promising 50 million if the team lifts the trophy. All right.
50
Kelechi,
million
50
naira or
million,
dollars.
of course it's naira. Come on, it's 50 million naira.
50
$50
million
million.
naira. 50 million naira.
It's naira.
Oh my
Come
God.
on.
That's how much per player and coach
That's
and,
huge.
and staff.
No
That's
matter
not
what it is. I
huge.
mean, there's also more money coming for them. I mean, 10 million naira for the victory against Egypt. More to come. Whatever it is, they still have the prize money, which is $4.5 million coming from CAF if they win the trophy. So tired, there's so much money coming from the Super Eagles. Kelechi Iheanacho, it's been good, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, since he came into the scene, he has been excellent for the Super Eagles. If you look at his goal scoring record for the Super Eagles, it has been fantastic. And scoring that goal against Egypt, you know, he took the ball neatly on his thighs and then bang at the back of the net. So Kelechi has been one of our top performers over the years. And that goal he scored, you know, just it was another moral booster for him and, of course, for the team in total, considering the kind of preparation they had, you know, going into the tournament. And so I think for him, you know, to come out and say we should expect more goals from him, he definitely knows what he's talking about. He has been in goal scoring form, no doubt about that. And just maybe he might just give us another goal in the next game.
We're waiting for it.
Fingers
And
crossed.
still on Sporting Sun, Buhari hails Super Eagles inspiring starts. Okay, that's a nice one.
All right, let's
Coming
go
from
to
the
Complete
president.
Sports now. Quickly, talking about Iheanacho. Carl Ikeme says that Iheanacho is going to be Nigeria's talisman after AFCON. That's on Complete Sports. Olaino, we have to focus on Sudan clash, obviously. Yobo says Egypt's win gives us confidence. Yes, when you get a win over the Pharaohs, it surely boosts your confidence going forward. Best Eagles performance in recent years. That's according to Sunday Olise. You go along with that as well?
Oh, definitely. I agree with him on that totally because if you look at the Eagles' playing style and pattern, you know, under the previous coach, Gernot Draw, it wasn't really something to excite most Nigerians. Most Nigerians were really not excited about it.
That was towards the end of his time, right?
At the initial stage, the team was doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the qualifiers we had going into the World Cup in 2018,
exactly.
and we qualified with a game or two to spare, beat Cameroon,
Yeah,
you know,
easy.
took Algeria to the cleaners and all. So at the beginning, he did well. I mean, other than that blip against South Africa in Rio, but other than that, he did well. But then again, at the later stages of his coaching career with the Super Eagles, you know, the team started performing poorly. And whatever instruction he was passing down to the team, whatever tactics he was bringing to the team, you know, it wasn't getting through. So for this victory, this performance, not just the victory, but the performance, it really meant a lot to a whole lot of Nigerians after being through so much bad performance, you know, in previous years. So it was a good victory and it was a good performance along to go with it.
Indeed.
All right. Sporting Life is the last one this morning, and COVID-19 protocol. Awaziem knows fate today to undergo a series of tests. Again, after he tested positive on Monday. That's why he didn't play the game. May play Eagles next time. And okay, let's see what's going to happen if he's able to play. Awaziem obviously wasn't really missed because Kenneth Omero.
Yeah, but there's a problem there now. Kenneth picked up an injury.
So
we don't know his states right now.
We'll know by today. We should know, or maybe tomorrow morning. We'll talk with the media officer to know if he will start training with the team. Someone who is back in training, Victor Osimhen, trains in Napoli. That's good news for everyone. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Victor, for Kingsley for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your time. Thank you all for watching as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. I am Tayo Salam.
I'm Cecilia Mogbe. See you again tomorrow.